sit here and twiddle my thumbs for a minute. In fact, while we wait for you guys to jump on and hit the share button, while you're doing that, I'm going to flick my kettle on, because that's how I roll. And because I forgot to fill my cup. So we'll just give it a minute and let a few people get on here. Hit the share button, invite a few people on. This is going to be a very touchy subject for some, and I'm sure it's something that the left are going to have a political meltdown over. In fact, I'll get a cup of tea afterwards. It can wait. I'm not going anywhere. So we're going to wait a minute, and let's just see. Let's invite a few people on as well while I'm at it. So that those people can hit the share button as well. Send one to my mum. It's the only chance she ever gets to see me, actually. To be fair. So I'm just hitting the share button. So you lot can entertain yourselves just for a few minutes before I sort of let loose with my little rant. Because I am pretty pissed off right now. I'm really very pissed off right now, if I'm honest. I'm pissed off with double standards. I'm pissed off with the left. I'm sick to death of hearing the whining and the complaining of the hashtag Me Too. Because quite frankly, it's boring now. It's boring. It's boring. It's old hat. It's been done. And I want to know why they can't understand that they have double standards that are beyond acceptable, that their double standards are always the same, that anything you say, you is bad, you's a bad person, you's a really bad person, but anything they say, oh no, they're just wonderful, wonderful people, they're just the most amazing people in the world. They're awesome and amazing because they're all left, liberal, socialist. And this is something else that they need to. They need to give themselves a check-up on the neck up. They seriously do. Because they go on about the socialism. Socialism is the way forward. Really? They ought to look up Stalin and what Stalin did and ask themselves whether socialism really is such a wonderful thing. Because it clearly isn't. It clearly isn't. In fact, Stalin killed thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, and also stated that in his country there was no such thing as murder. So people were not allowed, if your child was killed, you couldn't say anything because there was no such thing as murder. And if you did try to claim it was murder, you ended up being the one investigated, and you ended up being the one arrested. That's how insane socialism is. It just beggars belief. It really does. So I'm just sitting here inviting a few people in, so we can get as many people on here as possible before I actually tell you why I'm pissed off this time and what it is that's rattled me over this. And to be honest with you, I have my reasons for being rattled. Okay. So, hi Sam. So, there's only 19 people on here, so do feel free to invite a few people on. Add as many as you like. Share it out as many times as you like. Because the Bugle is not happy. The Bugle is not happy at all. Because the Bugle has just about had a bellyful of the left killing comedy. It's like an assassination of the comedy world. And we're all spectators of the assassination of comedy. Because it would seem now that you can make a joke about a man being raped, and that's acceptable. And I'll prove my point. I will prove my point in just a second. But you can't make a joke about a woman being raped because that's unacceptable. Well, as somebody who has survived gang rape and survived sexual abuse, I'm not offended by a joke. I'm not offended by a joke about rape. I'm not offended by a joke that mocks any form of sexual assault. I am not offended by it because I know the difference between a joke and reality. Okay? I know that reality of rape is completely different to a joke that's told. I also know that we as a country have always laughed in the face of adversity. And laughter is medicine. It's food for the soul, quite literally. You know, there's an old saying that I've used for years that my dad always used to say to me, you know what, if you see someone without a smile, lend them yours. Well, what better way to make someone smile than to tell them a joke, no matter how bad that poor taste that joke may be. Like I've said before, when Princess Diana got killed, a lot of people in this country went into mourning. I mean, it was horrendous what happened to Princess Diana. And this country and America and other countries literally mourned. But it did not stop the jokes from going around, okay? It did not stop people telling jokes. I remember receiving a joke that said something along the lines of, what's Princess Diana's favourite yoghurt? Crunch Corner. At the time, I laughed. I found it funny. It was a joke. It was a joke. It didn't mean that I was happy that Diana had been killed the way she had, and I will use the word murdered because I believe she was. That doesn't mean to say that I think that this was good that she was dead. I don't think it's good that she's dead. But it's still a joke. You know, and we have been a nation of joke tellers. Do you think when our guys fought in the First and the Second World War, or when our lads were sent out to Iraq or Afghanistan or Northern Ireland, you think that they didn't tell some of the most horrendous jokes and sit and laugh in the face of adversity? You think they didn't tell jokes about Hitler or the Germans? We've been telling jokes about Germans for centuries, and we've certainly been telling jokes about Germany since we won the 1945, again in 1945 when we won the war. But what I find that is really offensive to me is all of these femi-fascists with their #MeToo movement and how you can't tell a joke about rape because that's just so abhorrent. But they're fine when it comes to jokes about rape of men or humour at the expense of the possibility of a man being raped. And I will prove my point. It will prove my point. Movies. How many of you have watched movies where some dude is getting arrested and he's going to go to prison and somebody makes a joke about going in there and becoming the bitch in the prison? Or don't drop the bar of soap. Even in movies such as Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a Marvel movie, and I'm a huge Marvel fan, but when they all get thrown into prison and the big guy comes up and basically says he's going to smear his backside with some gel to be his bitch, and people laughed because it was funny. There is another movie where a white guy is about to go to prison. He hires a black guy to train him how to be hard in prison because he doesn't want to be raped in prison. It's a comedy movie, okay? And they're laughing at things that sometimes are really hard to laugh at. But they are still doing it in a way that is humour. It's humour and it is comedy, and the left is killing off comedy. But don't tell a joke about a woman who's raped. Don't tell a joke about the Catholic priests that rape little boys. We can laugh at the Catholic priests, but we can't. So that's all right. We tell a joke about the Catholic priests that were raping little boys, but don't tell a joke about the rape of a woman. And that double fucking standard hypocrisy cuts no ice with me. It absolutely cuts no ice with me. And my best friend is a guy. And a few years ago, He actually sent me a joke. It was a rape joke. And immediately followed it with a phone call. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I should not have sent that to you. I'm sorry. And I went, why are you apologising? It's a joke. It was a funny joke. I got it. It's humorous. Made me laugh. It didn't mean I read it and went, oh my God, I've just been raped again. We do have a sense of humour. Being a survivor doesn't mean they've removed your funny bone and plonked it down somewhere else where it don't belong. We still have our sense of humour, and believe you me, most of us, if we didn't have it, we would not be able to exist. We would not live. Most of the young girls that I meet and I help, they are some of the funniest girls you could ever meet. They are quick and they are smart and they are sassy. It's what makes them a survivor. They are not offended by a comedian on a stage making a joke. And I notice the left are not offended when that joke about rape is at the expense of men. They are only offended when that joke is at the expense of women. So they still want special preferential treatment. Well, do you know what? Hashtag me too. Fuck you. All you femi-fascists out there, fuck you too. You don't get to take ownership of people who have survived rape and say you don't have the ability to have a sense of humour from it. Because we survivors do not live our lives in perpetual victimhood. And it is actually the left that want to keep us victims. Oh, that woe is me. Oh, it's so terrible. Oh, that poor thing, you poor thing, oozing with your sympathy that's so sickly that it could choke you like molasses being pushed down your throat in a jar. You do not get to keep me a victim. You do not get to push your apologetic bullshit onto people like me. I, as a survivor, will continue to laugh at people who tell jokes that are funny, and if that joke happens to be about a rape, then do you know what? If it's funny, it's funny. If it's not funny, I won't laugh. And if it's not funny, he might have told I might go see a live comedian, and he could tell an entire night of jokes that I find hysterical. He might tell one joke that I don't find funny. I'm not going to bitch and moan about it. I'm going to sue the man over it. I'm just not going to laugh at that one particular joke. But if you can't take a joke being a little bit offensive, which is what humour has always been, comedians have always been a little bit offensive, then don't go and see a comedian. It's not rocket science. Stop trying to take away these people's rights to their sense of humour, to their right to freedom of expression, even down to complaining now that there isn't enough women writing comedy. Now, what you mean is there isn't enough left-wing women writing your kind of comedy. That's what you actually mean. See, I want people employed that's the best person for the job. I don't care if you're male, female, black, white. I don't care. Can you make me laugh? Are you funny? Yes, you are. Even down to Asda now becoming the new comedy police. Because one of their members of staff shared a video by Billy Connolly. Now, Billy Connolly is actually mocking terrorists. Not Muslims, terrorists. That happen to be Muslim. When he talks about your 73 virgins and what use are you now because you're flying mints when you're blowing yourself up, to I don't want 73 virgins, give me 2 fire-breathing whores. The man shared it onto his page. He made no comment about it. He just shared it onto his Facebook, and Asda fired his ass. They fired his ass. So my advice to anybody on here that is working for a company that checks your Facebook, which Facebook admit that they do, shut your account to privatise it down. Privatise it down so nobody can see it. Because otherwise, you all stand to lose your jobs. Because you're not allowed to laugh now in the face of adversity. You're not allowed to find humour in the darkest of corners. But the truth of it is, sometimes shit's funny. And it just is funny because it's funny. I am sick to death of them thinking it's okay to find the humour in a man being raped. But, do not laugh if it's a woman. Do not find that funny. Don't find that shit funny. Whoa. Whatever you do, don't laugh at a woman is what they're really saying. Well, I don't want to point out the obvious here. But I think we women deserve to be laughed at. I think there's a lot about us you can laugh at. I mean, fuck me. We could have a row with our partner tomorrow and remember that argument 5 years' time. We've stored it up. It's in the memory bank. Come an argument 10 years down the line, we'll come back and go, well, do you remember? But ask us how, I don't know, something technical that you've shown us. And we go, I can't remember. We're very forgetful when it suits us, aren't we, ladies? How many of us have stood there and gone, I'll do it myself. I'll do it myself. No, it's fine. I asked you to do it yesterday. And now you haven't done it, I'll do it myself. And then you get up and you make it look like you haven't got a fucking clue what you're doing because you know full well the bloke's going to get up off his arse then and he's going to finish what you've just started because he can't bear to watch you fucking up. Right, so all of this, we women are victims or we're marginalised and we're pushed out. No, we're not. We're really not. We're not weak. Women are not weak. We're strong. We're strong people. Jesus Christ, we bleed for 7 days without dying. What part of strength do you not get? We are strong people. Being a woman and having a vagina doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. And we have got a tough exterior. We have to have. Our kids become teenagers and turn into the most vile, repugnant people, saying the most vile, repugnant things to us, and we still love them. Because we're strong-skinned. We're thick-skinned. Because we're not little sensitive primroses. And if you are a little sensitive primrose, you can't cope with somebody telling a joke that is in poor taste, well, it's simple. Don't listen to the joke. If you find the joke offensive and you're in a comedy club, gut them, leave and say, I won't go back and see them again. One of my favourite female comedians is actually an Australian lady. And her name is Jenny Taylor. She did a song about 50 Shades of Grey. It's hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. And we women complain and we bitch and we moan. All these liberal left femi-fascists going, no, you cannot laugh at rape. And there can't be humour in this. But when that woman wrote 50 Shades of Grey, all those books flew off the shelves. Flew off the shelves. I myself bought them. My mother, who at the time was in her early 70s, in fact, I bought them for her. I didn't buy them for me, I bought them for her. I just didn't know what they were until she came down and said, by the way, Nick, you know that book you get me? Yeah. She said, that's not that's sadofucking masochism. And I went, it's a hit. She went, oh. I said, well, do you not want it? She went, oh, you're joking. She said, I'm halfway through. I said, well, pass it over to me when you finish that book, Mum. And between us, we both read the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. I'm sorry. The movie does not do it any justice, okay? There's butt plugs and all sorts of things going on in 50 Shades of Grey. Okay, there's spanking, whipping, tying up, you name it, butt plugs and balls going up inside places where I would never put balls. There's all manner of things going on in this book, and that book flew off in its millions, making that woman a very wealthy woman. But these left act as though we want liberal freedom. We want to be able to go out and we want to be able to fuck who we want to fuck, okay? And if we want to have threesomes and gangbangs and all these other things, but then we're going to take the high moral ground. We're going to take the high moral ground and say, how dare you tell a joke about rape? But it's all right, because what we're also going to do while we're being offended over a joke, we're going to push on to your children, your little children, age. And if you don't know about this, look, the stuff is on my page. If people aren't going onto my page and reading it, look, I can lead a horse to water. I can't make you fucking drink, okay? But there is a video, both on my channel. There's also videos on Red Pill Fields where he took my video and he broke it down into 4 pieces, where they had a gallery tour at the Hayward Gallery. Now, this was a teacher training exercise, okay, teacher training for children, for teachers of primary school children and senior school children and junior school children. The teachers that were there were predominantly primary school teachers, and there was no age restriction, none whatsoever, on this gallery art, so-called art. I have to say so-called art, because quite frankly, what I read about wasn't art. It was fucking debauchery, right? And it was quite frankly grotesque and disgusting. Now, this whole thing centred around gender identity. It was aimed at children as young as 4 to 11, 11 to 17. For teacher training for gender identity to teach your children in your primary schools. Now, this included an art piece depicting the gang rape of a man. And you call it fucking art. You called it art. But it depicted the gang rape of a man. You're disgusting people. You're disgusting, and that was open to children with no age restriction on it. But you want to be offended because a bloke told a joke about rape? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Seriously? Wake up, smell the coffee, open your eyes and stop being a bunch of morons. Because quite frankly, the left, right now, as far as I'm concerned, you are the biggest problem in this country. You are the biggest threat to this country with your communist, socialist mentality. I tell you what, get your socialism in, get your communism in. See how long you can last then under that little dictatorship. That's what you get for shoving your bullshit down the throats of ordinary people. So yes, a joke is a joke. And if somebody tells a joke, even if it's in poor taste, if I don't find it funny, I won't laugh. If I find it funny, I'm going to laugh, whether it's in poor taste or not. But don't sit there and be offending at hashtag me too, he touched my knee bollocks. But not be offended that men get raped too. You don't own the word rape. And most of you that are out there being outraged have never experienced it. And you don't get to take what happened to me and then perpetuate by keeping me a victim with your pity. I don't want it. I don't need it. You can shove it where the sun does not shine. But don't sit there and cheer on movies that also continuously find humour in jokes about men going to prison and being raped. Because you're hypocrites. At least I say what I mean what I say. I am neither left nor right. I'm just right and wrong. And comedy is right. Comedy is good. Comedy is literally food for the soul. And talking of comedians, little shout out here for a guy that I've stumbled across on YouTube, who all of the comedy clubs now will not have him back on a stage because he told a joke that favoured Brexit. I mean, he told 3 that didn't favour Brexit in favour of Remain, but he told 1 that favoured Brexit. And they've deplatformed him in all the comedy clubs. His name is Alistair Williams. You can find him on YouTube. Do feel free to look that up. In fact, if you put in Alistair Williams Burger King Brexit, I think it's called, you will find it. So, for now, everybody, be good, stay safe, keep out of trouble. I'm going to get a cuppa, and maybe I'm going to go and find some humour to laugh at on social media, and maybe it'll be a joke that all the little femi fascists would be offended at, and I'm going to laugh my arse off. Thanks.